Hello and welcome to episode 4.
Episode 4, baby.
Episode 4 of the Fantasy Dads podcast. I'm your host, PJ Triolo, here with my co-host, Jake Shiptanko.
What's good?
About to get some nice wet and wild fantasy overview of who your daddies are and who your daddies aren't. Yep. So yeah, we got a packed show for you today. We got a little NFL Week 9 preview, followed by a couple, multiple interesting interviews with some of our league mates. We got Mikey Fitz joining the show.
Big Fitz.
We got the one and only Josh Schiowitz. And then we're gonna cap it all off with our supreme leader, Mr. Commissioner Adam Howard.
Wow.
So,
what a show.
Packed show. What a show. We're going to preview the week and then talk about the matchups in our league. So, yeah.
We should also be having Tim Tebow on anytime soon.
Yes. I did. It's a good segue. I did reach out to Tim Tebow. He tweeted out his number and told people to text him. So obviously I shot my shot as shooters do.
Can't blame a man to shoot.
Yep, and offered him to giving him the opportunity to come on this incredible podcast to talk some football, some Tebow mania, and his potential return to the NFL.
Yeah, very excited. Very excited for the return of Tebow.
Yes. Honestly,
if anyone can convince him, it's us.
Yes, obviously. We have the number one Tebow lover podcast here.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
Go Gators.
Honestly, the Jets don't need Trevor Lawrence. They just need Tebow.
Yeah, that's the solution. Or honestly, yes. The Jags could go there too, really. It's just kind of, if you put them on a team, you're going to end up winning games. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, no, you have God on your side.
When you have God on your side, it's like nothing's impossible, Hashtag Jesus.
Yeah.
Hashtag love Sunday. All right, so we'll start off this podcast by breaking down last night's Thursday night football matchup. Packers versus 49ers. Yes. This was a blowout.
Yeah. The 49ers got wrecked with some Rona. Both Brandon Ayuk and what's his face? What's the other dude?
Kendrick
the other
Bourne.
Wide receiver. Yeah, Kendrick Bourne. I always forget him. But,
he's forgettable.
Yeah, they both got the Rona smackdown, and the 49ers defense has already been in shambles injury-wise, and then Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon on the Packers also got the Rona smackdown.
Yeah, the Ronies were wildin' for these two teams.
The Ronies were wildin', but Aaron Jones did come back, so it was a minimal loss for the Green Bay Packers, and they ended up just pooping all over the 49ers.
Yeah, some garbage time TDs, I guess, made it a little bit more fantasy relevant, but the 49ers looked god-awful.
Yeah, they did. So a couple notable performances. First of all, by the daddiest papa of them all, Dadvante Dadams. Dadvante Dadams, proven that he is a week in and week out papa, and that you can he's easily the wide receiver one, or I don't know about easily. It's between him and Hopkins, but he's the only guy on the Packers that Aaron Rodgers likes, I guess.
Yeah, Adams, he's just so unreal statistically when you look at fantasy this season, because he had the first week start off with 41 points. Then he went 6, got injured, 3 weeks off, came back, only put up 12, and then in the past 3 weeks, 44, 30, 33. So I feel like he is on track for wide receiver one. It makes it tough because he missed those 3 weeks, but, who's to say if he's scoring over 30 every week this easily that he can't catch D-Hop?
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. He's full package. He's just like 90% of the time, Aaron Rodgers is just he'll just heave a ball up and then it'll just fall into Davante Adams' hands, and it's beautiful having. Thank you so much, Josh. We're probably going to talk about this a bit later, but trade that I made with you, that
he's going to get an earful.
Thank you. Yes, he's going to get. I'm going to thank him. I'm gonna talk about how much of an idiot he was.
A big wet kiss.
A big old wet virtual kiss, because we can't kiss in person anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Adams, your fantasy team is probably feeling pretty great week in, week out. And if you have Rodgers in fantasy as well, he's just been crazy consistent. He's had 6 out of his 8 weeks so far with 3 touchdowns and 3 or more touchdowns, and then 250 or more yards. And that's just a solid almost floor is what he's establishing. Of course, his floor is a little bit lower with those 2 off weeks, which kind of came against tougher defenses. But if he's on, Adams is on, and then everyone's just on, and they're scoring a lot of fantasy points together.
And Allen Lazard's still out, so once Allen Lazard gets back, that Packers offense is going to be humming.
He's like the one other somewhat relevant wide receiver on that team. Valdez-Scantling did get the touchdown, that deep ball. Did he get 2 touchdowns, or am I tripping?
I think he got 1.
Just 1. I remember the deep one that hit the top of the stadium.
No, he got
dropped
2.
Into his hands. He got 2? Yeah, that's what I thought.
He got 2.
It wasn't like he necessarily looked great. I saw him drop 3 passes at the same time. So he's not necessarily a talent, but when you're on the Packers and you got Aaron Rodgers, you'll find a way to score some points. So, but that's actually interesting to note kind of going forward, that if Lazard keeps out, that maybe Valdez-Scantling can actually score some fantasy points.
Yeah, he's worth having if you're thin on wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Another surprise performer with the 2, actually 3, because Tebow Samuels is also out. 3 top wide receivers on the 49ers, all gone. The boy Richie James stepped up, and he actually outscored Davante Adams.
Holy shit!
He had 9 catches, 184 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Holy shit!
I think it was 1 point.
But still.
Yeah. So, Richie James, I never heard of him before, came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Going forward, yeah, if all 3 of the Niners starting wide receivers are out, you can feel great about a Richie James play.
Yeah. So, Richie James, actually, it was by 0.4. So, Richie James
Even
had
slimmer.
33.4 total points, and Davante Adams had 33.3.
Wow.
So,
there's someone in a 16-man league that, they just have to be this into fantasy football, and we're like, I'm going to play Richie James this week. It's just got to be a play because of all the injuries, and they got paid off just very sweetly. Hopefully people also on the 49ers side of the ball went with McKinnon and not Hasty, because Hasty did not put up a nice stat line, but yet in my 10 and 12-man leagues, I'm seeing him in the lineups all over the place.
Yeah. No, McKinnon definitely seems like McKinnon was injured last week, I'm pretty sure, which is why
he had capped touches, I think. I think he was out there, but no, McKinnon definitely got a lot more looks. I think the overall expectation was for Hasty to have more volume in this game, and that just didn't happen. So, and the Packers defense does suck at stopping the run. So it didn't not make sense as a play, but it's just a bust that really hurts some people.
Yeah, very true. A couple other things to note. River Craycraft is a fantastic name. Yeah, he's me and Jake and I were texting about this. Trent Taylor, the other wide receiver, in there with Richie James and River Craycraft. So earlier, episode 1, I think we had our family trio of white wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
We said they're all the spawn of I think we said Gronk and Danny Amendola.
Yeah, it's like it found that breed of wide receivers that can really just pop in the NFL.
Yes. Just the reliable third down. Like, you need a third down conversion, just throw it to River Craycraft, even though he only had 2 receptions and 13 yards. But yeah, we decided that they're the 2 cousins in that family who were tired of their family and moved to San Francisco and opened up a weed shop. So
yeah,
that's what they're doing.
They're chilling.
Yeah, they're just chilling out there. Yeah, and then Ross Dwelly, 3 catches, 52 yards.
The boy.
Look for an increase in some Dwelly mania.
Yeah, and I honestly think that's a real thing too, just because I think the 49ers just had just one of those games because of, like, when you don't have your top offensive weapons, like, you can't move the ball the same and shit, and it's just, I feel like they didn't look like what the 49ers look like when they're playing well. So I expect, for him filling in for Greg Kittle to get those looks going down the line still.
Yeah. He had, I think he had more targets and more catches than Jordan Reed. So
yeah.
Ross Dwelly looks like the 1A to Jordan Reed's 1B. But whether you trust them in fantasy or not is up to you. Ross Dwelly is a boy.
Yeah.
He's a man. He's on the cusp of Papa.
Just for his
name. Might be a
name.
little too much right now.
His name puts him really close to being a Papa, as River Craycraft as well. That's why we talk about them on the show. It's just with names like those that just kind of roll off the tongue and just pop on a jersey. You really want to see them become dads.
Yeah, no, they're definitely two guys I'm rooting for going forward.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're gonna start breaking down the upcoming games of the week. We'll start it off with Texans versus Jags. Couple 1-win team matchups.
A little 1-6 versus 1-6. Yeah, this should definitely be interesting. No Gardner Minshew.
Mike Glennon.
Actually, not Mike Glennon.
Not Mike Glennon.
They're going with like the third string guy. I forget his name. It's yeesh. I'm trying to think. Jake Luton.
Jake Luton. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I remember reading that.
Yeah. So Jake Luton. Not
the best name. It's a clunky name. Luton.
Yeah.
Luton. I don't know.
Is it Luton?
Luton rolls off a little better. I'm a fan of the name Jake, as you know, but we're looking at the last name a lot of the time here. But no, I see this, especially with Jake Luton out there, as a pretty potential blowout stinker sort of game for the Jags. I think James Robinson can and probably will eat again. I just don't know if he's necessarily going to keep them in the game, which, doesn't necessarily spell well for game script in terms of garnering up a lot of fantasy points.
Yeah, but, they use him as a pass catcher a lot, too. So, if the Jags do get behind, it'll be Jake Luton probably throwing to the boy DJ Chark, who needs to prove that he is more than a boy.
Mm-hmm. But he's looking like a boy.
He's looking like a boy. I have him in a league. I'm not starting him. He's lost that benefit from me.
Especially with Jake Luton out there.
Yeah, I was big on the Chark train last year. He helped get me to a championship in one of my leagues. But I'm getting off the Chark train.
Mm-hmm.
But Deshaun Watson will probably put up big numbers as he always does.
Fuller and Cooks should probably each have a decently nice stat line. Fuller has had a touchdown, I think, in the last 5 of 6 games, so expect Fuller to probably find the end zone.
Yeah. I don't really... This game just doesn't take my fancy.
At this point, if you're starting David Johnson, you can expect those similar vibes of... The last time he played the Jaguars, he scored 12.3 fantasy points. He's just one of those guys where the floor's 11 and the ceiling's 13. He gets the volume, but he's not necessarily doing anything spectacular with the ball. So I'd say expect that sort of stat line from him.
Yeah, nothing crazy. He's in that David Montgomery level of like running back twos who you wish weren't your running back twos, but you have to play them as running back twos because you don't have any other options.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, jumping on to the next game. Giants versus Washington football team.
Ooh, I love the Giants in this matchup. Just because, well, I mean, it depends if they're the Giants that, like, almost beat the Bucs last week, or the Giants of that we've seen.
New York.
Yeah. I mean, I expect Sterling Shepard to have a pretty good game.
I know the Washington defense does rank number 1 in least points given up to a wide receiver. A lot of that probably has to do with teams getting up pretty quickly and whatnot, but it was just something worth noting. But I, too, would feel all right starting Shepard. You know, I'm not pushing him into my lineups necessarily with this matchup, personally, but I definitely, like, feel him on a flex play.
Also, a couple things. Devontae Freeman has been limited in practice. Worth keeping an eye on.
If he's in, it's a no-go backfield. That'll just be too messy. If he's out, like maybe Gallman, maybe.
Yeah, Wayne Gallman might. I mean that.
I wouldn't.
Football team, the football team's defensive line is pretty good.
It's like they don't even necessarily have a bad run defense, so it's just not the best look for the Giants backfield. And Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin, they seem to just find ways to put up a nice stat line regardless of the game, especially in these NFC just shit games. They find their way to put up some points, so I feel pretty good starting both of those guys coming into this week. I'm not sitting here thinking that they're going to be great, but I think they could definitely, be their average selves. The Giants' D could definitely run it up as well, because they've looked good and scored some good fantasy points so far this season, surprisingly.
Yeah, and then Washington D also, with how turnover-prone Daniel Jones is, might be an interesting play.
A pick six could easily happen.
Yeah. A pick six, like 3 fumbles, fun stuff like that. Like, it's NFC East. It's going to be entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what the outcome of the game is.
Yeah. I love tuning into those games.
Yeah, definitely.
I love when they get the prime time spot.
It's the Maction of the NFL.
Yeah, literally. Literally. That's hilarious.
It's beautiful.
I think the NFL needed it, honestly. I'm loving it. It's made me more excited to watch football. All right, moving on to the next game. Ravens
Colts.
Ravens Colts, baby.
Ooh, 5-2 versus 5-2.
I feel like Ravens are probably favored for the game win, but the Colts have a very naughty defense, especially good when it comes to the run defense. So, I don't think this is going to be a blowout either way, because both these defenses are honestly very, very scary and fantasy relevant.
They both have really good defenses. I just trust the Baltimore offense much more than I trust the Colts offense. And if it ends up being a defensive slugfest, I think that Baltimore is going to come out on top.
Yep.
One thing to note, Mark Ingram still out, or hasn't been practicing, so it's looking like a J.K. Dobbins. But even with him probably being like a solid, like getting the majority of the carries over Gus Edwards against the defense like the Colts, I mean, start him at your will. I mean, I'm starting him over Singletary.
Yeah, I say especially in PPR leagues that J.K. has the receptions, here and there, not like a huge volume of them, but with those taken into account,
couple screen passes,
Yeah, it's honestly, it's just he stepped into a nice volume spot, and he's a talented player, so it's like maybe he can do something against this defense.
Yeah, and then the Colts running back room,
sticky,
is just kind of a
sticky
fluster-clucky. Very fluster-clucky situation. I mean, if you want to trust Jonathan Taylor again, I benched him. I don't trust him.
Yeah, and like I feel like Hines has like his blow up like 2 or 3 times a season where he'll just put up those 20-point games, and because he had one last week, I
don't think he's gonna have one this week.
Exactly, and then it's like Jordan Wilkins isn't like special, and he's probably gonna end up getting the one with the most volume. So definitely an avoidable backfield for the most part. I'm kind of backed into a situation where I'm going to be starting Jordan Wilkins, though. So that should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. He looks like the dude in that backfield. He looked much better than...
Yeah, he did. He honestly did.
Jonathan Taylor, yeah.
I need Mark Andrews to go off. Not like even like specifically for like a team. I just feel like it's just in the ether at this point, and like I need him to just have a game where he throws up 2 touchdowns because it just doesn't make sense right now.
He's had a slow couple weeks, so I mean I have benched him in the one league that I have him just because I have Gronk and like, but yeah,
and Gronk's been a dad.
Gronk's been a dad, and Mark Andrews has been a boy. I mean. It'd be nice if he put up some points, and that would make my decision a lot harder on who to start in that league. But, I mean, what can you do? I mean, it's a bad problem to have, and maybe I can trade one of them.
Yeah. I would prefer, as a fantasy fan, I would love for Lamar to keep busting. I don't have him anywhere, so I wouldn't necessarily suffer from that. But I think it's kind of exciting that he's been busting. I like to see that high draft pick just kind of biting people in the ass right now.
Yeah, that's a real, like, especially as a Browns fan, I love it when the Ravens play like shit. So, I mean, I would also love it if Lamar just, like, looked like booty. That'd be beautiful. Then the receivers, I mean... both receivers on both sides I would kind of avoid.
Yeah.
Like Hollywood Brown has looked like a boy. T.Y. Hilton is absolute shit.
Yeah. I say like the only we talked about Mark Andrews, and then I think the only other offensive sort of player to take a look at is maybe Trey Burton for the Colts. Like he's for a tight end, he's put up a decent stat line I think the past 3 weeks, so I feel like he could definitely deserve a tight end play depending on your situation.
I think Pittman's back, maybe.
Pittman is back. He is.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to roll with that, you can roll with that. Whatever.
I wouldn't feel great about rolling with that.
I wouldn't either. So, I mean, do what you want, but don't start Michael Pittman.
And on that note...
moving on to the next game, and that is the Lions and the Vikings.
Just not necessarily, what is it? Lions have 3 wins?
Lions have 3 wins, Vikings have 2 wins.
I think the Lions not having Kenny, Marvin Jones could be real sexy, and TJ's definitely looking wet too. I think both, because Matt Stafford, he's a good quarterback, so he's going to complete passes in this game, and they're probably going to go to Marvin Jones and TJ.
Yeah. No, I definitely think those are 2 fantasy relevant players on the Lions. As for the Vikings, I mean, Dalvin Cook is going to be Dalvin Cook. Like, start him every week if he's healthy.
He's not going to be stopped by this Lions defense. No way.
Yeah, 100%. And then their wide receivers, I mean, I love Jefferson. And then I feel kind of meh about Thielen. But, I mean, if you have to start him in a flex, I mean, this is a good week to do it. Like, the Lions defense is not the best. Honestly, I think the Vikings are going to... I think this is going to be another just, like, shitty game, but I think the Vikings are going to pull out eventually and...
take this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jefferson and Thielen are kind of like, to me, an off-brand Lockett and Metcalf.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's like, if one of them goes off, the other one's not going to do so well. And then off-brand because instead of Russell Wilson, they have Kirk Cousins throwing to them. And instead of Chris Carson taking rushing touches, they have Dalvin Cook. So it's just like they just have a lot smaller of an opportunity than Lockett and Metcalf. I see it as almost a direct parallel.
Yeah, with a less talented person giving them the ball.
Yeah.
Significantly less.
Significantly less talented. You just don't know what you're going to get.
How are they still, like... I mean, he's probably the best option they have, but, like... I mean...
They're just rolling with him.
You think they're... I honestly think they might take a quarterback in the draft. Because, like, I don't know if this Cousins thing is working out for them.
Yeah,
like,
and they're probably going to keep losing a few games, but they could definitely have a nice little spot. And then the Lions' backfield can fuck off. I think I'm ready to expect this all season that it's just going to be the Rams' backfield, and it's just going to be like, fuck this is annoying. Except for they're not as good as the Rams' backfield, so... Or I guess they don't have as good as an offensive line, so that's why they're not as fantasy good. But it's just annoying because I wanted it to be Swift so bad.
Yeah. And it would make sense. It would make sense if Swift started getting the touches from Adrian Peterson, who's ancient. But, like, it's not happening.
Kerryon Johnson got 2 touches last week and got a touchdown. On a reception.
Yeah, that's not great.
That's fantasy cancer.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all for the Lions Vikings. Next up, we got Bears versus Titans.
Another good game.
Yeah, I'm honestly hype about it because Titans offense pretty great, Bears offense pretty shitty, Bears defense pretty great, Titans defense pretty shitty.
Yeah, it's like the polar opposites of each other.
Yeah, it makes for a nice little matchup.
If you took the Bears offense, or if you took the Bears defense and put it on the Titans, like they'd easily like be Chiefs level.
Oh yeah, they'd still be undefeated.
And same thing with the Titans offense on the Bears. I mean, it'd be the same team, but like on a different team. But you know,
it'd be another Jets.
It'd be another Jets. I mean, because the Titans' defense is so booty. Look at some of the Bears, like the Bears' few relevant skill position players.
Allen Robinson is a go-to dad week in, week out. Like not necessarily like Daddy Papa, like Dadums level, but he's definitely a go-to dad. Like, there's no reason you shouldn't start him, obviously.
He's a solid dad. And then Montgomery, like, it's a nice matchup for him.
I'm willing I want it to be a blow-up week, so I'm trying to will it into existence. He's been nothing but just a meek little half-dad the whole season. The Titans' defense isn't necessarily the best. I'm hoping he can just pop off 2 touchdowns for fantasy's sake. So it's just like... Finally, he can do something crazy. I'm also starting him in 2 out of my 4 leagues this week, so definitely looking to see a good performance there.
Yeah. On the Titans side of the ball, I mean, Henry's going to be a big old dad. Week in, week out, even against a good defense, like, you should be starting him.
Thick as fuck.
Yeah, start your studs. That's the number 1 rule of fantasy.
Start A.J. Brown this week for sure. It doesn't look like a great matchup because the Bears' defense is good, but he has a touchdown in the last 4 games. So
I was gonna say
just suck it up and play him.
Yeah, I'm also really interested in this matchup because seeing whether it's A.J. Brown or Corey Davis who end up being the dad of that wide receiver group, because Corey Davis
was dad last week. Yeah, he was dad over Brown. Brown still got the touchdown, but he was dad for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he also got a touchdown, I'm pretty sure.
Corey? Oh, I'm sure he put up like 28 fantasy points. Yeah. I was saying AJ Brown still had an off week and scored a touchdown. That's all.
Yeah. So I mean, you can't go wrong with either of them. Like,
yeah, I honestly like both of them going forward.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good matchup with multiple touchdowns on each side. So Jonnu
touchdowns.
Jonnu Smith is as dry as the Mojave. I'm still starting him because my other guy's Mike Gesicki, and I just don't know. But Jonnu, I don't know. Definitely not a dad. I wouldn't even put him in half dad status currently. I'm disappointed, to say the least.
He's really fallen from grace.
Mm-hmm.
He looked to be a big old papa, like week 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And just decided to be...
Came out hot.
Yeah. Came out hot. Has been cold.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I think that's it for that game.
I think that's it for that, yeah. Moving on, we got the Panthers and the Chiefs.
McCaff is back.
Yeah, the McCaffrey is backy. It'd be interesting to see how he looks, I guess. If you own Mike Davis, that sucks. I'm sorry.
Mike Davis can fuck off. He kept some. Yeah. He made some fantasy teams a lot better than they needed to be because they just were like snagged Mike Davis off the waivers in week 2.
Yeah, but I mean, Panthers defense is pretty booty as well. So I feel like it's gonna be another big game for every Chief. Which, it's to be expected. Kelsey's going to be a dad.
It's tough because they're all... Yeah. The offense is so good. Patrick Mahomes is so good that you just don't know how they're going to score. Because, Clyde, Le'Veon, Kelsey, Hill, Hardman, there will be plenty of touchdowns scored by the Chiefs. It's just who the hell are they going to go to? It's a little bit of a roulette game at this point. But it's a good roulette game to play because it's big winnings because it's the Chief.
Yeah. And, the weeks that they don't score, that the next week they're going to come back and score. It's just how the Chiefs work. And, honestly, I feel like this is going to be very lopsided. The Chiefs are going to be pounding them. And we know they don't like to run the ball. So, I mean... I don't know how that looks for Clyde or Le'Veon, but
Panthers have that bad rush defense, but I think I'm gonna be benching Clyde. I don't know. It's not. I don't think it's bad to play him, but I have Damian Harris and Zach Moss on my bench, and I'm I just feel like one of those guys is gonna have a better week than Clyde's gonna. So I could be completely wrong, but
yeah. I mean, I'm just pumped to have McCaffrey back, honestly.
It is very exciting.
Yeah. And then, DJ Moore, they're probably going to be throwing the ball to try and get back in, so you got your DJ Moores, you got your Robbie Andersons.
Your Curtis Samuels.
A little fake Taysom Hill, Curtis Samuel action going on. The huge.
Yeah, if things get feisty, that's the thing. The Panthers aren't going to blow out the Chiefs, so either it's going to be feisty and there's going to be great offensive scoring, or it's not going to be feisty and they're just going to be throwing the ball 24/7. So, really good looking game for Robbie, DJ, and Curtis.
Yeah, and they use McCaffrey enough out of the backfield that when they do throw, he will get his touches, and especially in PPR leagues, that's beautiful because McCaffrey can easily drop 30 points on a bad week.
Oh yeah, I'm hyped for. We haven't seen that really yet this season because of his injury, so I'm very excited to see more of those big games.
Yeah, me as well.
All right, moving on.
We got the Seahawks and the Bills. This is another huge game.
Yeah. A lot of fantasy points to be had.
Yeah. Starting with the Seahawks, we already know Russ is going to cook. And
Russ, DK, and Lockett is fantasy gods. Every week they're all going to get wet, but one of them might get a little bit too wet and hog the wet. That's the only thing to be worried about. There's a ton of wet, and it's just is one going to take too much wet? And the worst thing that happens then is one of them gets crazy wet, as we've seen over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. And I love this is just going to be a shootout, I feel like, because I mean the Buffalo run defense is pretty not the best. Like that's their weak spot. But I mean we could see a lot of Chris Carson. But we know the Seahawks defense is also not the best. I mean they did just trade for Carlos Dunlap, and they're getting Jamal Adams back, so I mean that could
make
swing it in their favor.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think
I have on here Allen's shootout. Knock on wood, just because I do really see that in the cards for this game. You mentioned Chris Carson also. His current status, it's pretty unknown. Like it doesn't seem like it's really leaning either way. But if he is out, DJ Dallas could have a nice week 2 in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. But yeah, I'm hoping for big points from Josh Allen. I think they're gonna have to be throwing to keep themselves in it, and I hope that translates to many a touchdown, either run or pass from the young Dad Allen. And after his past couple of weeks, performance wise, I would love it if he restored some faith in me. Because if not, I'm looking to potentially, get a little bit of an upgrade. Like, see what's going on the waiver wire.
Yeah, I think this is officially a Josh Allen paternity test.
Yes.
And it's either be a dad this week or you're going to have to start benching him.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
But I think, from what I can tell, we both sound pretty optimistic about the performance. We think he can dad it up. I would put money on him dadding it up. Fun fact, Stephon Diggs hasn't scored beneath 10 points all year. PPR, but he hasn't scored beneath 10 points all year. And, it's not like we didn't know he was a dad, but that's pretty daddy right there.
That's consistency at its finest. That's, and he still has potential to go above that, which, if that's his floor, you're very happy with that as a receiver.
Oh, yeah. And then last thing to note is I think we can agree that Zach Moss looks better on the field. I think fantasy-wise, because of the way they give him the red zone touches, he's a better fantasy play.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily love it, though, because they are still getting that 50-50 split, and that 50-50 split is tough if you don't get the touchdowns. And so I personally am waiting on more of a sample size for Moss before I start starting him.
Yeah, and as a Devin Singletary owner, that frustrates me to no end that they just don't use him along the goal line. They didn't last year, and they're not this year. They're not even giving him a chance. It's so frustrating, and I would love to start Devin Singletary, but for the reasons you just said, I'm very, very much not doing that.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? That's another 50-50 split backfield that's just really, really not fun from a fantasy perspective.
No way, no how.
Yeah.
All right, jumping along to the Broncos versus the Falcons, my beautiful team.
Yeah, I'll let you take the lead on this one because it is your beautiful team.
Yeah, I think as far as game script on this one, it could get ugly for the Broncos going forward. But they do have a nice defense, and as a Falcons fan, I'm never putting anything past them. So, but the big kind of thing I was looking at was Ridley's status. And it's not looking likely for this week.
Yeah, it's definitely not great as a Calvin Ridley fan and owner. But that just means more touches for Russell Gage and Julio and Hayden Hurst. So I'm happy on those accounts. But
I feel like Russell Gage, definitely you can throw him in your flex if it's the best you got sort of thing. But I don't think he's necessarily a daddy with Ridley out, if he ends up being out. Just because there has been those games where Julio's missed and Gage didn't really end up blowing up. He performs better when all three of them were out there, almost. So not necessarily a daddy is my take on him.
And then Yeah. For the Broncos, I love Jerry Jeudy in this matchup against the Falcons defense. We saw what like a confident Drew Lock was able to do against the Chargers. Jerry's still out on whether he can do that every week. But I think Jerry Judy's like the number one guy there.
Yeah, if you're gonna start a wide receiver, it'll be him.
Yeah, definitely. And then for their backfield, it's looking like Lindsey is limited in practice and he's questionable for the week, so that's worth monitoring something. If you have Melvin Gordon and Lindsey's out, that's an easy play right there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily feel great about playing either Gordon or Lindsey, but certainly like you can face tougher defenses than the Falcons.
Yeah, you're very much overselling the Falcons defense. Like,
oh no, we genuinely do have a solid rush defense. That's a very real thing. We're kind of like the Browns. I don't know how your guys' rush defense is actually, but we just have a very shitty secondary, which is why we get points run up on us.
Yeah, we thought for the Browns, we thought that our rush defense was good, but that was only because we were up by a lot and people just had to keep throwing against us, so no one ran against us. And then when a team actually ran against us, the Raiders, they just bullied us. Mm-hmm. So I think the Browns defense just in general just kind of sucks. So
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I think it's still up in the air about the Falcons D. If they go out there and give up 100+ rushing yards to either one of these guys, then yeah, that's not a good rush D. But I don't think that will happen. But that's just my take as a Falcons fan. Noah Fant has proven consistent with receptions so far this season, going 5-4, 5-5, 3-7. So I still feel good starting him. I think that 3 reception week all gave us a scare because that was after he had been off for a week. And the Falcons defense gives up the most points to tight ends, or really anyone on offense. But yeah, so I feel really good about playing Fant this week, given the situation.
Yeah, sounds about right. I wish I had Noah Fant in the league where I'm stuck with Gesicki. But yeah, what are you gonna do? You can't unless someone trades. Then you're stuck with the guys you got.
Take it on the chin.
Yep.
Gurley is scoring too many TDs to be benched. He doesn't necessarily look great. He's not putting up crazy amounts of yards, but he's finding the end zone at the end of the day.
And yeah, whether it be on purpose or by accident, he is getting in the end zone, and
it's like he's a magnet.
A good thing. Yeah. And like when they get within 10 yards of the end zone, they're giving it to Gurley like 3 times, and if he can't score, then they're gonna kick a field goal, which brings in the Young Ho Koo.
Oh yeah, the boy.
The Young Ho, he's pretty cool. Yeah. A great kicker. I wanted to get him, but Mike poached him off the waiver wire. Made me upset, but whatever. It's fine. Mike poaching on the waiver wire stole Chase Edmonds from me. Stole the Young Ho from me as well.
Damn.
But
double dicked ya.
Rough. Double dicked me, and I'm playing against him this week.
There's a lot of bad blood in this matchup. I'm about it.
Yeah.
Excited to have him on later.
Yeah, I'm also very excited to have him on later. He's going to be overly confident, but I'm pretty confident how Devontae performed.
Yeah.
Moving on. Oh, you want to go?
I was just gonna say, there's also, because of Ridley being out, Julio could have a feast game, like a 30 fantasy point plus sort of game on the table, 100%. Just for you Julio owners to feel optimistic and hype. But yes, Raiders versus Chargers next.
Raiders Chargers. I like Derek Carr in this matchup. I think, I know the Chargers kind of have a pretty solid defense, but I think, the Raiders have so many weapons, and they were kind of very very limited with what they can do besides give the ball to Josh Jacobs like last week just because of the weather. But I mean, this is going to be played in I think Vegas or maybe Los Angeles. Either way, new dome stadium. They're going to be airing it out the whole time. So
yep.
Look for big weeks from both Henry Ruggs, maybe Nelson Aguilar. I don't know about Josh Jacobs. I don't know how much they're going to use him. If he couldn't go over 100 yards or score a touchdown, I think he went over 100 yards, but he didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
When they used him so much last week, I don't know if he's going to like a shootout type.
Jacobs needs to start finding the end zone. He's only scored in 2 of 7 of the games that he's played in so far this year. But the 2 times he did score, it was 2 touchdowns and 3 touchdowns. So I don't know. I haven't really figured out what is the difference between those games and every other game. It just seems like we're getting some bad luck.
But yeah, what I was saying before, like if he wasn't able to score last week when the game plan was so run heavy, I don't see him scoring this week. I mean, he could prove me wrong. Like this, I feel like is going to be a very pass happy. Derek Carr versus Justin Herbs. Just kind of going at each other, shooting at each other.
Well, we know what'll happen. The Chargers will get a huge lead, and the Raiders will come back. So there are big points to be had. My mouth is watering for Keenan Allen and Darren Waller in this game.
Oh, yes.
I'm at full mast thinking about their fantasy performances.
Yes. Very, very, very excited for Keenan Allen this week. That'll be hopefully another like big dick performance to go along with Devontae Adams' 33 point like huge shit that he just took on Mike. The Raiders defense is very, very poop. I mean, especially against the pass, like their secondary looks god awful. Even like last week against the Browns, like with the weather, like the Browns are still able to move the ball pretty well through the air, I feel like. Yeah, their defense, it's a big week, big dick time from Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I think.
And then maybe Mike Williams.
Yeah, Mike Williams is probably a good flex play this week. He's proven to be pretty good, and Herbert's slanging. So definitely a game to be excited about. Looking forward now to the Dolphins versus the Cardinals. I think the Dolphins are a fantasy mess right now. Parker is the only guy I like starting, and I honestly like starting him this week. I think Tua is going to hit him a few times, but other than that, it's a scary looking situation for Dolphins fantasy.
I mean, yeah, we took we saw Tua last week. He didn't look good. But hopefully, like maybe he'll start to get more comfortable, like being the starter.
He'll get some more opportunities. He didn't have a lot of opportunities in that game.
Yeah, very true. Also very true. But yeah, I like Devontae Parker. That is. I'm starting him in a flex. I think he's gonna be solid. The Miami defense, like. Everyone was hype on them after last week, but I mean they haven't like playing against an offense like the Cardinals. I don't know how
it's
high.
It doesn't seem appetizing.
Yeah.
I picked him up, but I'm benching him in a league because I definitely this matchup ain't it, Chief.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray.
Kyler gonna Kyler.
Kyler, the short dad, you know.
Yep.
Short king, Kyler Murray.
Hop gonna pop.
Hop gonna pop. Drake gonna not be playing. So it's a little Chase gonna Edmund.
I guess. He should feast fantasy points, but I think I might start making this a thing. It was wrong last week, but there's just sometimes I get this inkling where it's like everything seems in line for one player to have a really great fantasy week and then I feel like there's a complete bust potential. I feel like Edmonds is my guy this week that like he should feast in fantasy points. If I had him in any leagues, I would be starting him and I would be lit. But I just, again, it's like I see him everywhere now, and I'm like, he may bust. But that's just me being funny, so.
Yeah. I mean, he looked really good when
down. When I say this, I think he is a phenomenal running back. I think he's going to get +8 receptions in this game potentially. I like he could just be absolutely insane, but because the fantasy gods are sometimes assholes, I feel like they might strike him down just out of intuition. Like there's no evidence supporting this. That I think that's the key with this pick, that there's zero evidence to support the bust. And when that situation happens, that's when I smell the bust.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it. I still think he's going to have a solid week. But I mean, I can see where you're coming from, where everything looks beautiful, everything looks perfect. So something must go wrong.
To continue on with the Cardinals, Christian Kirk has proven pretty consistent also. Past 4 weeks, he's gone 10, 12, 20, 22. So I like starting him in this matchup. I don't necessarily love it because he can have just an absolute bust, and like that's more than on the table. But I like him as a flex play. Given what he's been doing, I think he can definitely have another nice game.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's been he's taken over from Larry Fitz as that number 2 option for Kyler on that Cardinals team. So I mean, he's a solid play. But the Dolphins defense is still pretty good. So proceed with caution, I guess.
And because we're expecting big games from D-Hop and Edmonds, it's then how much can be left for Kirk?
Yeah.
And then one more thing to mention about the Dolphins, Breida will be in the backfield. He is currently questionable, so if he is out, then it'll be Jordan Howard. I don't necessarily feel good about starting either, but it's just a fantasy thing to note.
Yeah, if you've been relying on Myles Gaskin,
then you can give Matt Breida a little run.
Or Jordan Howard if Breida's out.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't expect anything crazy from them.
Especially against a halfway decent Cardinals defense. All right, jumping on to the Steelers versus the Cowboys.
This is going to be a dicking. I say this
not start a Cowboy.
Yes. No Nooch this game. It's either going to be the GOAT Garrett Gilbert or it's going to be the rookie Cooper Rush.
So they're moving on from Nooch?
Yeah, they're moving on from the Nooch. They gave him 1 week. He showed what he can do. I think they should build the offense around his little sidearm submarine action that he's got going on. But that's just me. Mike McCarthy is doing his own thing.
Yep.
I expect a lot more just weird shit from the Cowboys. Just trying a bunch of random shit. Like what they kind of did last week.
Just doing whatever they can to figure out how to get down the field and put up some points. Whatever weird ways that haven't been done, they're gonna find them in this game. But unless you're literally fucked, I think you gotta bench even Amari Cooper, Zeke. Like the Steelers' defense is just so fucking filthy that I would feel awful about starting any one of those guys. So unless you're fucked, dude, don't put yourself through that.
Yeah, I mean maybe Zeke, maybe.
Yeah.
But
it really depends on what's on your bench. But I'm trying to I'd probably start Zach Moss over Zeke, but against the Steelers defense, it's just that aspect of it. I'm the Cowboys offense could have less than a total 100 yards. I wouldn't even be shocked at that.
Yeah, but as for the Steelers, start every Steeler. James Conner is gonna have a huge week. That's my big prediction of Dad of the Week. I think he's going over 20 points.
Yeah, he's on Dad Alert.
Yeah, he's on my Dad Alert. Probably a touchdown, maybe 2.
A lot of touches against the worst defense in the NFL. My only, again, this is just my dark side thinking, like, if they know that that's how this game's going to go, Snell might fuck it up. You know, they might like, you know, share the volume because they know they're going to be using Connor like the whole fucking game. So they might start using Snell a good bit, like, especially in the second half. So that's a thing I'm worried about, but, like, not necessarily worried about because Connor can still put up 30-plus fantasy points before that even happens.
Yeah, easily. I'm going to say 26 fantasy points.
26. I like it. I like it.
I'm writing that down. I'm making a note of that. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this also. Steelers defense. Do you have a guess on how many they'll score?
Ooh, I mean, I think that's going to be big. I think it's going to be
I'm going to mark myself down for 22.
22?
22 by the Steelers defense.
I think they're going to get like at least 2 or 3 interceptions. A pick 6 would be beautiful. Add to my dicking of Mike.
They're getting at least 6 sacks. And at least 4 turnovers. It could be a lot worse than 22.
Yeah, very true. Wide receivers for the Steelers, I mean, you can't really go wrong.
I kind of marked down not necessarily great for the wide receivers, just because of the you get up by a few touchdowns, you stop throwing it sort of thing, or Ebron even. It reminds me of like a roulette game, because one of those 3 guys is going to score 1 or 2 touchdowns probably, so you don't necessarily not play them. It's just you could, if you play Chase, you know, he could do nothing because Deontay does well, and then so on Chase, and then Juju doesn't do well, and, you know, you could insert all that. But it's like, because it's not going to be an offensive heavy game through the air for the Steelers, there's not a lot of volume through the air that game, and there's a lot of guys looking for that volume.
Yeah. I mean, it's similar to the Rams backfield, but I mean, still, like, one of them will at least get a touchdown.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
exactly.
Take your bets.
Put them out there for sure.
Yeah. But I expect this to be very one-sided and a very, very bad day for the Dallas Cowboys.
A very dark day for the Cowboys. I'm excited. I'm very excited for this game. To see how bad it'll get.
Yep. So we got next game. We got the Saints and the Bucks, the Sunday night game.
Really good Sunday night game. Very excited for this one too.
Drew Brees has been limited in practice, so we might see some either Jameis. We might see Jameis. We might see a little Taysom Hill like QB.
Just a little bit of Taysom. Get him in your lineups. Get him out there.
And, like, if they end up starting him at QB and you're in a league that you can start him at tight end, basically you're starting 2 QBs.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
This is a tight end lock situation right now.
Yeah. And, I mean, Emmanuel Sanders will probably be back, and so might Michael Thomas, but, like, still.
Taysom Hill.
Taysom
Hill with all those weapons.
Yeah. Dude, Taysom Hill, QB1 with all those weapons if they end up starting him. But, I mean, they're probably still going to keep Drew in, but, like,
and if
whatever.
anything, it'll probably be Jameis, too. So, but we've got our hopes.
Yeah, we can pray. One can hope. And hopefully Sean Payton makes the correct decision and rolls with the Hill at QB.
Mm-hmm.
But, fantasy relevant players, I mean, we kind of touched on them on the Saints. Besides,
of course, Kamara. Of course.
Yeah.
If Michael Thomas plays. Yep.
Yeah. And then even if Michael Thomas plays, I still really like Emmanuel Sanders in this game.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get some like solid production, but I mean nothing crazy.
And if Michael Thomas is out, then Jared Cook could get some more looks also. So from the tight end position, I kind of like it for fantasy. I don't love it, but especially if Michael Thomas is out, Jared Cook is a nice little tight end spot.
Yeah, and the Bucs have a pretty good D, so I mean, again, the ceilings on all these guys are limited. Besides Kamara, just because he's like the entire offense.
Yep.
But yeah, for the Bucks, be interesting to see another week of the Bucks backfield.
I think you see. I don't know about starting Rojo. I'd be very, very hesitant.
Yeah, I have to in one of my leagues.
Yeah,
but
it's not like a confirmed bust or anything, but it's just scary.
Yeah, and then Antonio Brown, I feel like he might. Is he playing this week?
He may play. So he's been practicing, but like just because he's like, obviously he's not injured or anything. It's just like, is he familiar enough with the offense and then things vibing? Is like he ready to make the start? And I personally think that he will end up playing this Sunday, which is going to be just wet as a football fan. That's going to be kind of exciting. Yeah, and it would mean the death of Scotty Miller at the same time.
Yeah, R.I.P. You're gone but not forgotten. Never forget Scotty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. They're saying that Godwin might play.
I think he's in. I think he's good to go.
Yeah, Bruce Arians expects him to play. So, I mean, that's like good news if you own Chris Godwin. Yeah, I mean, any of those, like Gronk, Godwin, like Mike Evans, if you expect him to be like the good Mike Evans.
Yeah, this is the sort of week where it looks like you might want to bench Evans, especially if Antonio Brown plays and Godwin comes back. But my nards are saying no. My nards are saying potentially, I don't have him, so I can say this without repercussion, but potentially he could have a nice week this week just because of all those other weapons being out there. He'll get less coverage on him from the defense. Who knows?
Yeah. I expect another big Gronk week.
That's always on the table.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how good the Saints defense is.
He hasn't gone full dad yet. Dad. He's just got a touchdown, a few receptions, and some nice yardage. I'd love to see a huge dad moment between Tom Brady and Gronk. That would be fun. The New Orleans Saints also rank 30th in defense on tight end. So Gronk is looking like he could have a really nice week for sure.
Big Daddy Gronk. Gronk is going to go off this week. That's my prediction. You
got a point total?
Over 20.
Over 20. All right, mark that shit down. Moving on to the Patriots versus the Jets. A Monday night bit of a stinker. But no starting Jets. You know our rule. If you have to, if your back's against the wall, Perrine, if you need a running back for whatever reason, P. Ryan, or Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder is back, and he's scored over 10 points in every start. So he's an interesting dude, but it is the Jets, so I cannot advise such things. And the Pats D is good, so.
Yeah, and I love the Pats D in this. Start whatever defense plays the Jets. It's always a good thing. Good things will happen, and the Pats D is pretty solid. With that being said, I don't trust many Patriots on offense for fantasy-wise.
I do not trust any Patriots other than Damian Harris, and I don't necessarily love him either.
Yeah.
But because it's the Jets, they'll be running the whole time. He's shown that he's got the most volume. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Cam is...
Yeah, Cam is...
Dropped him.
Garbage.
Get out of here. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. How beautiful would it be if beating the Pats was the Jets' first win on Monday, this Monday night, if they could take out the Pats as their first win of the season? That would make me feel great.
Honestly, the city of New York would explode. They would, they're in that division with them. They hate the Pats. The Pats have continually bullied the Jets in recent years. That feels so good.
I hope honestly, this is their first win. I don't expect it. I wouldn't bet on it. But of all their games, this one is one that they have a chance to win.
I mean, maybe the Pats are sneakily trying to tank to get a Trevor Lawrence or a Justin Fields. Maybe that was Belichick's plan
just
the
being
entire
a
time.
Savage.
Yeah, but that'd be wild if they did that. But yeah, no, it could. This game is just a shitty game, and it shouldn't be on Monday Night Football. It shouldn't be in prime time.
Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of fantasy points to go around, except if you're the Pats D.
Pats D, and maybe a kicker.
Maybe a kicker here or there. All right, well, that wraps up our recap of the NFL games. So next, we're going to be welcoming on our guests for the week and talking about our league matchups.
We're going to welcome on our first guest, a Sir Josh Schiowitz, the king of fantasy, defending champion.
Why don't you introduce yourself, Josh?
Yeah. What's up, everybody? My name is Josh. I'm the owner, head coach, assistant coach, player coach of the reigning champion Lamar Jackson Flaxen Waxens.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to shit
trades,
on Jake.
Some good, some bad.
The trade maestro.
We need to talk about Josh's trade stats in this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you've been all over the place. How many moves are you up to now, Josh?
I believe it's a total of 4 or 5 trades and then 36 or 37 acquisitions.
No, you have 43.
God. How many?
43.
You had like 40.
All right, I'll take
43. Son of a gun.
You gotta zig and zag, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee or whatever.
That's our reigning champion.
Or whatever.
Next, we'd like to introduce you to our beautiful, wonderful, and questionable commissioner, Adam Howard.
I'm a controversial figure. I don't know.
Last place last year.
I'm Adam. I was last place last year, even though projected being first. Due to a Saquon Barkley injury and a couple other terrible moves. But this year, I'm making a comeback from being projected last a couple weeks ago to now being projected 5th and going to the playoffs. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. My team name is Gabagool Gangbang.
Tell us why you picked that.
That's it. Well, there's a couple obvious reasons. Number one, Gabagool is the best meat on earth. And number two, I would love to get gangbanged by a giant.
You don't even know what Gabagool is.
You think I don't know what Gabagool is?
What is it?
Someone tell me what it is.
Come on, get out of here!
It's Capicola.
No, it's like a pork.
Capicola, but said.
Yeah, it's Capicola. It's like it's like a salty, fatty pork that isn't bacon.
It's a cold cut.
All right,
it's a cold cut.
It's a cold cut. All right, and then
I have Gabagool, Josh. Don't worry.
The final guest that we have on our show, the beautiful, the Catholic, the Mike Fitzgerald.
The Catholic?
I don't know.
Yep. Owner of the implication, because you're going to get fucked when you play my team.
That's the implication.
These runners up. Looking for another trip to the playoffs this year.
Yeah. How you feeling about that?
Upward climb.
I think we're 1 or 2 wins from really locking it in.
Ooh.
Securing another big trip.
3 and 5.
That's big.
It's the last dance for Mike.
Yep. All right. So I want to start by just Sorry, I got a call from some random person, but yeah. I want to
What?
Yeah.
Bring him on. Bring him on the pod.
Yeah. I want to start by asking Josh how he feels about Devontae Adams being a dad and him giving him up for basically.
He's such a dad.
I would be lying if I said I wasn't a tad disappointed, but I think Christian McCaffrey is going to give me a very, very high floor that I'm happy with, and I basically think that PJ and I have locked up the championship game with this trade.
Wow.
It's like,
I also agree with that take.
Big words.
It's like when Hitler and Russia, they were like, we're not going to attack each other and we're going to make this deal. And, it's going to work for everybody. That's kind of what we did. But now inevitably, one of us is going to have to fuck the other one up. And it's coming.
Yeah.
It's just like coming. Hitler. Yeah. Just like Hitler.
Am I Hitler? Am I Hitler in this analogy? That was probably a bad analogy if I'm Hitler.
What does that mean, PJ?
Yeah.
Stalin,
which one is Hitler? Which one is Russia?
I'll be Stalin.
PJ's got the cold Russian winner. That means he's going to win.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I retract.
All right.
Oh, Galladay out for his Vikings.
Yeah, that's big. That's big. So jumping into the first matchup, we're gonna discuss my team. Welcome to Wet Dads Inc. versus Josh Schiowitz's beautiful Lamar Jackson Flaxen Waxens. Does somebody else who's not us want to take a stab at our matchup?
Josh is gonna win.
Easy, Josh Dub.
I disagree.
Oh,
Adam disagrees.
so yeah, let's hear.
I just
let's
want to
hear
be the
Adam's-
dissenting opinion.
Yeah, let's hear Adam's dissenting opinion first, and then.
Do you have a breakdown of
Well,
it?
no. You don't want to hear mine first. I gotta go. I'm gonna go look at it. I'm gonna give you some better answers. But
Gotcha.
you guys, talk your shit.
I can give you my thoughts then. I agree that I am going to lose this week. I'm putting the best lineup that I can out there, 100%. Taking a risk going Damian Harris over Clyde. It's kind of a Hail Mary sort of move. I'm like, maybe he just kind of goes off against the Jets. Who knows? Going for the Will Fuller in the flex play. I'm thinking maybe if Deshaun Watson is going off and it's just one of those 45-point games for Will Fuller, that could potentially get me to a dub. So I'm just giving it the best shot I can. That's my statement.
Yeah, Josh, I do have one question of why you're starting Jameson Crowder over Robbie Anderson.
Interesting.
Well, I think I have to put the Chris Godwin 9-finger special at my wide receiver too, if he's healthy this week. And I think Robbie Anderson has a questionable matchup this week, and also Christian McCaffrey returning. Mike Davis is probably still going to get some touches. I just think there's a lot of question marks there, and I think he could be a wide receiver too in the long term, but I don't trust starting him this week, and I think Jamison Crowder is another high floor player.
I just go by the baseline rule of just don't start a Jet. So
Yeah, do you feel like you're
He's
playing
the
with
only
fire at all?
Jet. Oh, I feel like I'm playing with fire every week, but he's like, when he's healthy, he's just putting up like really good numbers, and people forget about him.
It's because he's literally it for them too, which is really funny.
yeah,
But okay. So I have a little bit of a dissenting opinion here.
Yeah.
In fact, since you're on Jamison Crowder, I have him in my other league, and he honestly raises my blood pressure quite a bit. Only because, like PJ said, he's on the Jets. He's coming off an injury. You don't know, like, he is so injury prone to where, like, I like having him on my team because when he goes off, he goes off. But, like, it's not very often. And, like, he's on the Jets.
What do you mean it's not very
So-
often? I don't even think he's left a game. Like, I think he's just like had nagging injuries, but every single game he's produced numbers.
I mean, the last game he was in, he only got 11.8 fantasy points, which is, like, a
That's
decent
fine.
amount,
I'll
but
take
it's
that
not
from my
like...
flex. Because I just
Yeah,
need
I mean,
consistency.
if you'll take that in your flex, but Jake over here has Will Fuller in his flex, who's going.
you're
to
talking
go
about
off after
injuries,
a
and you're
bye
going to bring out Will Fuller, Z5th?
Daddy season.
week. Will Fuller's had a great season.
Daddy
He's had a daddy season. And
I think he's
the only thing I will give Josh on this is that number one, Christian McCaffrey coming back is going to be huge for him, most likely. And DK Metcalf is an absolute machine of a human being. He is not a true. I don't know if he
He's
is.
not.
He's not. There's no
Yeah,
way.
Mhm.
At the same time, he might pull a dub, and it might be a little Tyler Lockett week.
That's
You
true.
never know who you're gonna get.
That's what I have my fingers crossed for.
It could be. It could be. I'm also worried about Josh's Chris Godwin only because of the injury factor and the fact that Tom Brady, for some reason, next game might decide that Miller is
Oh,
going
shut
to
the
be
fuck up.
the only wide
Antonio
receiver he throws to
Brown.
the entire game. You never
Antonio
know.
Brown's coming back this
Yeah,
week.
that
Let's go.
I
That's
think
true.
there's reasonable worry for
Uh-huh.
that, but my opinion there is Chris Godwin is a chain mover, and in that offense, Mike
Yeah.
Evans is a big play guy, Antonio Brown is a big play guy, big ego. They
Mike Evans has not been
no,
a big player.
yeah, look at his
He's a
game.
he's a touchdown.
Right.
Yeah,
he's,
you're right.
He's
He'll
touchdown.
get
He's
red
touchdown the
zone.
line. I honestly think at practice they like just
Yes.
send him to the corner with the jug machine until he cries, and they're just like run back corner fades over and over again. His stat lines are like 1 catch, 1 touchdown, two
Yeah,
catch,
for like
2
2 yards.
touchdown, 3 yards.
while we're
That's also, I would rather have Godwin than Evans.
while we're on,
Josh absolutely raped Ed to get Godwin on his team, by the way.
Let's talk about that.
T.
talk about
Higgins
that.
and
Why-
Brandon Ayuk for Chris
trade
Godwin.
master.
Brandon Ayuk has COVID
Ridiculous.
now.
How do you feel? Do you feel bad about yourself for that one, Josh?
No,
I
feel
vetoed
no.
that
I feel no
trade.
pity.
That was
at all.
ridiculous.
I think I
I-
just had to get rid of Ayuk while he had value because Debo Samuel's gonna come back, and I mean, I don't think he's.
And Ayuk has COVID.
Yeah,
I didn't even realize
he's got the
that.
Ronies. The Ronies.
That's sorry,
Yeah.
Ed.
yeah,
Ed's a big boy. Ed's a big boy. He should have known what he was doing. I don't feel bad.
I
Yeah,
honestly,
no.
I
T.
think
Higgins is
that-
good though.
He is
I
good.
low-key thought Ed won the
Yeah.
trade.
No.
Yeah, T. Higgins is kind
What?
of sexy.
I think you're
Ridiculous.
trading 2 wide receiver 2s for a maybe borderline wide receiver 1, and I don't know. I value wide receiver depth more than getting
Yeah,
one.
I see that, but I
Yeah,
also
yeah.
have wide receiver depth. Like I think Robbie Anderson is a wide receiver 2 going forward, and he's just gonna ride my bench,
He
and
is.
Jamison Crowder, who might genuinely ride my
True.
bench when Kareem Hunt comes back.
So we think I'm gonna win this week. Then is that the consensus?
I do. Yes. I'm pulling
gonna
out for
put
Jake
my
win.
vote-
Josh's
Jake.
team sounds very overrated at this point.
Well, you're the only one that's beaten me, so there's something going on.
It's true. That is important to note. Josh
Yeah.
is 7-1, and his one loss is the wet dad zig. He has a chance to escape wet dad zig. this
The
week.
wet dad curse.
Josh doesn't do
I
well
want to
against.
promote him to manager.
Josh doesn't do well against corporate conglomerates
Yeah.
like the Wet Dads Incorporated.
Yeah.
Break up the monopolies.
Yeah. The dad monopoly.
All right, we're gonna jump to the next game, the next matchup of the week. It's a Lockett versus Team Haas. Does anyone want to take the lead on this one? Oh, Josh is heading out. Everyone
I'm
say bye,
out.
Josh.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Josh.
Bye, Josh.
See you in the championship.
Yeah, see you then.
Josh, thank you for voting. Okay.
All right, so it's a Lockett that I'm winning versus Team Haas. What's your take on this one, Peach?
All right, just to start off, I mean, Aaron Rodgers went off 305 yards, 4 touchdowns, almost 28.9, 29 points.
Great
but
start at
same,
the QB position.
Yeah, but at the same time, the JaMychal Hasty start is looking pretty rough there.
Questionable.
Very, and with Zeke going against that Pittsburgh defense, I don't know how much I like that.
Check his
I'll fuck
bench.
with that.
Check Kyle's bench. What he could have played at running back.
It
too.
makes me mad.
Oh.
When I'm looking at this, it makes me
Oh.
upset, dude.
He had Jerick McKinnon, Aaron Jones. Yeah, that's
I don't know why he didn't play Aaron Jones instead of JaMychal.
right.
I mean-
Like I know, like why, but like why? You know, like he thought Aaron Jones was going to be injured and not play, and I'm guessing.
I guess, yeah.
You know.
It's just like, makes me upset.
Yeah, because he could have had a nice little
I've been there.
RB2 play. But that definitely sets him back some. And then Zeke though is also garbage on Kyle's team. Against Pittsburgh.
They're gonna sell
I
out
don't know.
against the
I
run.
disagree a little bit. I think
Nah.
Zeke is going to have a bounce back game.
he's supposed to have a
he's had
bounce back
some-
game like the past 5 games. Like he's been
No,
dominant.
It's
no,
not
it
going to
was like a
happen
good-
against the Steelers.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh
Listen,
is
it was
too
a good string of 3 games that weren't really going his way. He had a couple fumbles that one game.
This is from a Zeke manager, by the way.
I'm a Zeke manager as well. I think Zeke is has to be a for sure start no matter what. And I think that this is a week where he's gonna at least have like a decent, like he's not gonna go off. He's not gonna get like 20 points. He's gonna get like a touchdown or 2.
yeah. I'm
If you say.
for this. Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
for
I
this
don't love
For this overall matchup, I'm kind of leaning towards Jonah, but I don't really
Me too.
like the Jonathan Taylor flex start.
And Rojo also.
yeah.
Like, it seems like both of those are pretty weak, but it's the best he could do.
And I think I said Jerry Jeudy was probably one of my favorite starts this week.
Mike Williams, too. Mike Williams isn't a bad start this week either.
Yeah, I mean, even just taking out Jonathan Taylor, putting in Jerry Jeudy would give him make me feel much more confident in Jonah.
He needs
but-
to get Jonathan Taylor out of there.
Yeah, I agree. But Derrick Henry's gonna big dick all over the Chicago defense. Even though the Chicago defense is pretty solid, it's still Derrick Henry. Tom Brady's gonna go off. Julio Jones is gonna go off. The tight end matchup is gonna be I feel like a wash, like Waller versus Hawkinson.
Waller could go like filth though this
Yeah.
game. He could be crazy.
Yeah, but
He's pretty filthy.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Jonah has some leeway with the JaMychal Hasty start by Kyle, but I don't know if he doesn't.
I feel like Kyle's two Cowboys, Zeke and Amari. Like, of course, great players, but with Jake, wait, is it who did you say was the Dallas
Garrett
QB?
Gilbert, they haven't decided
Garrett
yet.
Gilbert.
Garrett Gilbert or Cooper Rush, like. I
Got
don't-
you.
Yeah.
I hope it's Cooper Rush. That guy sounds good.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Jonah. He just needs to get Jonathan Taylor out of there.
Yeah.
Especially
I agree.
against Baltimore. Like he's not an every week starter anymore. He's barely a
No.
flex play against a good defense
Mm-hmm.
or against a good matchup on defense, but against a pretty shitty matchup where he's going against a really solid defense. Like, I don't understand why.
Yeah,
he's being
his-
started.
Yeah, the Jonathan
His
Taylor
schedule
thing
was soft.
the Jonathan Taylor might make Jonah get the loss this week, though.
Yeah.
I will say that. That's
But
really bad.
He has the leeway with JaMychal Hasty. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yep,
this is
yep.
interesting. This is going to be a very interesting week. It's projected.
A notable
yeah.
matchup.
Yeah. 2 4-4 teams vying for the playoff spot. You know?
Oh shit! It's literally at 50% probability both ways right now. 125 to 127. It's
Yeah.
a tight one. Tight matchup.
Tight dads.
Who do you guys think is going to win this one?
I think
Us.
Jonah, but I agree that Jonathan Taylor should not be starting. I mean, I looked at his like few games that he's like all the games that he's gone off are like Jacksonville, Minnesota, the Jets,
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland, and then the game that he got less than 10 points was against Chicago and then Detroit.
Gotcha.
So it's like Baltimore is right there, and like I don't like the rest of his schedule after that isn't bad, but like this is not a game.
This ain't
So
it,
might
Chief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Questionable volume and all that. What about you, Mike? What do you
But-
think?
Derrick Henry and Julio Jones are daddy difference makers. They're going to be the difference in the game.
be the triple
That's
D.
I
it.
have to agree with that. I have to. All right, we'll jump on along to a great matchup that we'll let, if you guys want us to take the lead on, we can, but the implication versus Dan's minuscule Guido Cock.
I'm gonna fuck Mike up. That's just period. But that's all I have to say about
Yeah,
it.
Oh, yeah.
this is gonna be interesting.
I did mark down
Devon-
PJ as the winner of this one
I think so as
in
well.
my predictions.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already got the leg up with Devontae Adams, obviously.
Dadvonte Dadams.
Break down the
Davante.
lineup. When you look at the lineup, what do you your lineup, Mike? What are you thinking when you were picking who you're starting?
Okay, so, my team's had a lot of injuries this year. We've battled. But this is the best we're doing. Derek Carr. Derek Carr's looking good. He's on a bounce-back game. Questionable Chiefs Chargers defense.
And you had to put him in because Burrow's on bye.
Burrow's on bye. I had Dak Prescott in this league. He got hurt. We've had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're up.
Chris Carson, I'm hoping he plays. I don't know. I'm doubtful. Might have to go back to my boy LaMichael P. Ryan on the Jets. Big believer in him.
Just get Frank Gore.
Nah.
Nah, no way.
Play Mike Davis and hope for McCaffrey to just like trip and fall.
Honestly, though.
We'll see. We gotta. That's gonna be a game time decision, I think. We gotta
DJ
watch
Dallas,
the
I feel like
news
is
Sunday morning.
Still on the waiver wire.
Yeah,
Ooh.
a lot of options out there.
DJ.
So
DEEJ.
potential points. Chase Edmonds, though, moving on. He's a solid running back. Picked him up off the waiver wires.
I'm pissed.
I heard around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you were pissed.
I was very
Too
pissed.
bad.
I was hoping to pick him up with Kenyon being Kenyon.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah,
it
shit happens. Whatever. It's fine. I'm still gonna dick you. It's fine.
We gotta hope Michael Thomas plays this week.
What do you
Bunch-
truly think will happen? Do you think he starts this week?
Honestly, no. There's probably gonna be more bullshit this week. Like he doesn't play. He's gonna end the season with 4.7 points,
Yeah.
and he's gonna be the worst first round pick of all time.
So Mike, are you not going to play Antonio Brown?
Ooh.
That's the thing. I'm waiting on the news on Michael Thomas. If Michael Thomas plays, AB's going to wait on the bench a week. But if Michael Thomas is out, we're just going to have to throw Antonio Brown in there. Hope
Yeah,
for
I
the
mean,
best.
you got to start Scary Terry this week against the Giants, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, he's a beast. I like, my receivers are solid.
Very
if
solid.
Michael Thomas
Very
plays,
solid wide receivers.
Tyreek Hill is a beast. Picked up the Texans defense this week, going against the Jags.
You do have Joe Mixon on bye this week, too. That's another notable thing.
Yeah. So the stars aren't aligning this week for a win, but I think we're still competitive.
Yeah, I think
and have a
I
chance.
think it can
I
be.
think it's going to come down to the kickers.
The kickers, Adam?
It's going to come down to
Bold
the kickers.
claim.
The kickers is going to be the tipping point for one of the other.
Gostkowski versus Carlson. We'll come back to that.
Yeah,
then.
dude, it's a big matchup.
Circle that.
I bet
write it
PJ's
down.
kicker hasn't got 20 points in a game.
I mean,
In a
Gostkowski has missed like 30% of his field goals, so I'm not worried about that matchup at all.
Nah,
He's gonna have a bounce
he's
back
gonna get
week.
hot.
All right,
Exactly.
PJ, who is projected 145. Why don't you give us a breakdown of your starting lineup here?
So starting with Josh Allen, I mean, he's had a rough couple of games, but against a kind of suspect Seattle defense, I feel like this is prime Josh Allen bounce back season.
You're hype. You're
Jamal
hyped
Adams
about the
is
play.
back this
Jamal
week.
Adams is back. I know that. They got Carlos Dunlap from the Bengals. Like, yeah, it's gonna be improved, but
Spicy D.
I think like he's still coming back. Like he's still gonna bounce back, and they're gonna have to throw a lot to keep up with that Seattle offense. So it's only good things for Josh Allen. J.K. Dobbins. I'm basically kind of treading water at that running back position, waiting for Nick Chubb to get back. I like him with what's his face? Fucking Ingram. Yeah, Ingram out. J.K. has been kind of the lead guy in the Baltimore backfield. It's a rough matchup against Indy, but like I like him better than Singletary and Le'Veon, just because Singletary doesn't get the goal line touches and the Chiefs don't run the ball. So I mean, yeah. And then James Conner against Dallas. I have him
That's a solid one.
Yeah,
That's
I have him as my dad alert. Dad of the week. Very suspect
Dad of the
defense. Very solid running back.
Gave him to you.
Yeah, you gave him to me. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Hayden Hurst and James Conner for Travis Kelce was the trade that we made.
Whoa!
It's working out pretty well for me. Very pleased with
I have
Conner.
no complaints.
Yeah.
Mike's loving it too.
Yeah. Solid trade all around. I mean, Keenan Allen against the Raiders secondary is going to be another big game for Keenan Allen. Keenan has been nothing but consistent all
If I'm Mike,
season.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
If I'm Mike, I'm horrified.
And then
Keenan Allen does not scare me.
he doesn't scare you. He's like one of the most
No.
consistent receivers.
Most overrated receiver in the league.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Okay, you want me to
This game,
read you
I-
his stats, what he's been putting up?
I'm looking at it right
Yeah,
now.
I'm
and
looking
it's
at
like,
one of those
dude,
like 10 or
Week
14
1,
point
7
weeks.
points.
He's not going off for 20 this
Week
week.
2, 16.
You're not gonna
Week
14
3,
point game.
30. Week 4, 14. Week 5, 10. Week 7, 22. Week 8, 21. So he's somewhere in the high teens, low 20s every week.
He's gonna
Like-
And he doesn't even need
he's
a
gonna
touchdown
be
every week to
in
do
that
that.
10 to
He has volume.
14 range this week.
I don't know. I mean, his lowest performances were in the early season when they still had Tyrod Taylor and not Herbert. So, I mean, Herbert loves him. He's been nothing but consistent for me.
Herbert's a sexy boy.
Yeah. And with Devontae already putting up 30, like, I feel very, very good about this matchup.
And you got your second Devontae.
Yeah, I got my Devontae instead of Davante. As my flex play. I mean, he had one catch for a touchdown. I don't know about Tua. Tua was pretty spotty last week, but I mean, I feel like he's the top wide receiver there. Tua starts to figure it out. He's the guy who he'll be figuring it out with.
Steelers
then-
D.
Yeah, that was my big thing is Steelers D
That's-
against Cooper Rush or Garrett Gilbert is gonna have a field day. And the Dallas offensive line is shit, so TJ Watt is gonna just feast on him. That's nothing but good for fantasy. So, I mean...
That might just... Like, Devontae, Steelers D might just, like, fuck you. Like,
and James Conner.
And James Conner.
Yeah. So, I'm very, very confident about this matchup. Feeling very good. If Mike...
I'm looking at Mike's face right now.
Obviously, if Michael Thomas plays, I'll be a little bit more... if Michael Thomas and Chris Carson are both in, I'll be a little bit more nervous, but even if they...
I even think then, PJ, honestly, you still are gonna be fine, to be quite honest with you.
I mean, I do too.
Not to talk shit about Mike's team, but, like, I'm just... Like, if I was playing Mike this week, how it is, I would be scared, but, like, I'm looking at PJ's team, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, I don't see how all of these players could, like, have bad week. Like, even if one or two of them have a bad week, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, me and Jake are in tough spots. We're playing like the top tier team.
They're fucking savage.
You gotta hope for a miracle.
Yeah, that's the thing. We need those miracle upsets, and I got one last time, so I'm gonna eat a lot of rabbit's feet leading up to Sunday.
Do it.
All right, we'll jump on to Adam, your matchup with the 1-7 Euclid Daddies. Just noting that their one win was against me.
Yeah. So one of the things I just noticed when I clicked on it was that the other day I was projected like 120 something, and I looked on it just now and I was projected like 110, and he was projected 91, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm still not that worried. And I looked at it, and it's because Calvin Ridley was projected 0 all of a sudden because he's injured. So like I just took him out and put him in. I'm like, oh, now I'm back to 120.
So are you starting?
I mean,
are you starting Evans then or Corey Davis?
I'm trying to figure that out. I want to start Corey Davis, but he's against Chicago. I'm not sure how confident I feel about that. But I'm also not confident at all in Evans recently.
Yeah, I know where you're
at. The last game he had, like, it was fine. He did what he needed to do, I suppose. Got the touchdown, but, like, the fact that he's so touchdown reliant, and, like, it sucks to say, but, like, if you take away his touchdowns, he gets, like, I don't even know how, like, he gets, like, 3 yards a game.
3 yards.
Half the time. He's really just, like, a goal line receiver now, which is sad, but, like, he's, like, basically a fucking, like, tight end at this point.
I gotta say,
so it's pretty rough.
I made note of your choice to play both Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, as originally because with the Dallas matchup specifically, like, they'll get a lead and then they're just gonna run it, so there's not gonna be tons of passing, but it's the sort of thing like at least one of them is gonna have a great game, if not both of them then have decent games. So like
that's the thing. I wouldn't normally make that choice. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like
I wouldn't normally make that choice if I was playing anyone. If I was playing anyone other than Brian, I would not start both of them. I would have definitely replaced one of them with like Cole Beasley even.
Yeah.
Because like I kind of like his chances this week. I don't know. You were just talking about Josh Allen. How do you feel about Cole Beasley this week, PJ?
I mean, he could get some looks.
Yeah,
you know?
he's a solid chain mover, as Josh said Godwin was. Like he's not the big play guy. He's just a reliable. Like he'll get his touches.
Some good hands.
Yeah. And against a kind of suspect defense, like, and I mean, the Bills are going to be throwing a lot to try and keep pace with Seattle. So I mean, it's a solid matchup.
Yeah, they're going to be working from behind.
Yeah.
So it might be another one of those things where instead of Davis, I play Beasley or Corey Davis or like
Gotcha.
I don't even know.
Yeah, no, I think you can't really.
I don't have a lot
wrong.
of pressure this week. Like even Dalvin Cook alone is going to really like give me. Dalvin Cook is if anyone's dad of the week, it's Dalvin Cook. If we're really being
he was dad of last week, right?
Yeah. He's gonna be dad again this week.
Ooh,
interesting.
He's gonna be the dad of dads.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean the one thing that I see that could put you like make you a little nervous is I mean Lindsey is hurt, he's questionable, so Melvin Gordon's gonna get a lot of touches. Then
let's break down Brian's lineup real quick. This is hilarious.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go down top to bottom. Let's start at Matty Ice.
Decent.
Matty Ice.
Not the best in the world, but decent. You know.
I mean, yeah.
Decent.
Right?
I mean, the matchup there isn't the worst. It's not the best.
I give him a 6 out of 10 on the play.
But he doesn't have Calvin Ridley. So like, he'll throw only to Julio, which is fine. He'll still do his thing, but like, what's he gonna throw to Gage the whole time? Like, I don't think so.
Russell Gage is a dad.
Julio Jones is a dad.
Hayden Hurst
is a dad.
Hayden Hurst, maybe.
I
just think they're not even gonna need to work from behind that much. I think that's gonna be a
I
Falcons
give
win.
you the easy edge with Kyler Murray over Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Then jumping down to Melvin Gordon against Atlanta. Again, a favorable matchup, but against Dalvin Cook, I give you the huge edge. Kerryon Johnson versus the Vikings. I'll take Justin Jackson.
Interesting play.
I think I would very safely take Justin Jackson, who I think is going to be a dad within 2 weeks. He's going to be the top dad of that.
The top dad.
I mean, Austin Eckler's probably coming back in a week or two, so...
Yeah.
We'll see, though. We'll see, though. At least for now, he is a dad.
Yeah, absolutely. And then DJ Moore versus Kansas City, Mike Evans, New Orleans. What do you guys feel about that one?
I mean, I feel
Who do
like...
you give the edge?
That's a toss-up.
Toss-up?
Touchdown dependent, for Mike Evans.
And,
Same DJ.
Yeah, I'm going to give the edge to DJ just because the Panthers are going to be down... they're going to be down big to the Chiefs, and they're going to...
But could it be another repeat of last week when they're just, only throwing to, either Samuel, or they're only throwing to Robbie Anderson, or they're only going on the ground to McCaffrey because McCaffrey's back? What are they going to,
I mean,
yeah.
It's...
I don't like either of these plays. Tampa Bay has so many options now with the addition of Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin's playing...
Curtis Samuel got 2 touchdowns last week, so DJ Moore is just that much more unappealing.
DJ Moore did nothing last week, but I mean it's gonna be one of those things where Carolina is gonna sort of choose a wide receiver every week, pretty much, to give all their volume to.
Yeah.
But I mean, DJ Moore could definitely go off. He can.
Oh yeah.
And you got the other DJ.
Yeah,
DJ Shark coming up. With Jake Luton throwing to him, I don't know.
Not a fan.
Do you think Brian knows that?
I'd probably not, but whatever. I mean, Jacksonville could be down big and might have to throw a lot, so
yeah.
Game flow.
I would just for the viewers at home or the listeners at home, I would like to give a little background into Brian's fantasy strategy. So a couple weeks ago, or no, I'll start in the beginning. Week three, he played. I don't know who he played. He played someone that had been injured for a while.
Yes.
And I said to him, if you're gonna play an injured player, in your starting lineup, 2 weeks in a row, I will fine you $5. And he was like, "Oh shit!
Wait, I remember
I didn't check."
Yeah.
And so then he finally figured it out and did it. I think that was the week that he beat you, Jake. The next week.
Oh my god! So that's why I lost.
So that might be why you lost. But I think it was just a bad week for you, chance wise.
Shit just didn't line up.
It didn't line up.
Yeah.
But then this last time, we looked at his lineup and somebody said something in the Fantasy Dads group chat, and I made a joke, a complete joke that I would never in a million years think was true, which is I said nobody should tell Brian about the waiver wire. he didn't know, and then I shit you not, 10 minutes later he texted me and Jake and he said, "Somebody tell me what the waiver wire is."
Yeah.
I really have no idea.
Yeah.
And I felt kind of bad, but at the same time I'm like, dude, you signed up for this. The waiver wire,
at least look up a YouTube video on how to play fantasy football.
yeah, there's money on the line, bro.
Or just explore it on the app.
I think the fact that he didn't drop Saquon until 2 weeks ago.
Says a lot.
Yeah.
I told him that's what I told him to do. I was like, you have to drop Saquon. He's not coming back. And we also told him to drop Kerryon Johnson, and I don't think he did that. He obviously didn't.
No.
But I was expecting, after I told him the waiver wire, it was one of the situations where I needed... who did I pick up? I picked up someone... I picked up Fulgham that week.
Yeah.
Who was one of the top things in the waiver wire, for sure. And when I told him about it, I was like, shit, he's just going to get Fulgham because he's right there. It's in everybody's face. He is top priority.
But he didn't.
I don't think he picked up anybody.
So he was just capping.
This last time. He was just happy.
I mean, he was confident with his team.
Yeah.
You could. I don't know why.
To finish off Brian's team, it's Mark Andrews at tight end, Jordan Howard at flex, which could only maybe be
Saints wide
interesting.
receiver expected to be active. Michael Thomas is playing.
Holy
Let's go.
shit,
Got
that's
the update.
big
That's good.
news.
That's good.
That's crazy.
Breaking.
Big news.
But Jordan Howard, if Matt Breida, because Myles Gaskin got injured last week, and Matt Breida might be injured this week, the Jordan Howard flex play may work out for Brian. I'm sure he has no idea how lucky he is by doing that.
Yeah,
But-
I don't think he really.
At
may
least
work
he's
out.
starting Mark Andrews instead of Tyler Higbee now.
Yeah.
That was very infuriating to see him starting Tyler Higbee every week and then Mark Andrews just
That's
sitting on
true.
his bench. But
And then the Bears
Yeah.
defense versus Tennessee, I give it to Adam with Patriots versus the Jets. And then
Yeah, I mean, anything
kickers,
against the
who
Jets
gives
right
a
now.
fuck? But, like,
Who gives a fuck?
yeah.
I had to replace my kicker for a bye week, and I think I got a pretty solid kicker anyway.
There you go.
But I had a question to pose to you guys.
Yeah.
Between the wide receivers of Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, who, like, on an average week to week basis, what is your guys' pick there between those two? Because I've been struggling with this every week. Like, I have no idea.
I've
It's
compared it
tough.
to the Rams backfield where it's
Yeah.
the Rams backfield a little bit better, but in receiver form, like you just kind of have to roll with one and hope that they're the one that goes off. Like
Yeah,
it looked like
I've
it was
been
going to be
usually
Chase.
going with
Yeah.
Claypool.
It looked like it was going to be Chase for like 2 weeks, and then he's kind of quieted down a little bit, and then like Deontay
Yeah.
had that big game.
Long term, probably gonna, like, if you were, like, I would say Deontay Johnson is who I would lean. But
Right.
there's no perfect science there.
Yeah,
There really is not.
All right, we're gonna move
Well, yeah.
on to the. We're all in agreement. Adam will win. And then the last matchup of the day, the 5-3 Zan Newtons, coached by Vinny, versus a team has no name, 4-4, coached by Eddie Wild.
So this is interesting because every week I feel like I text Ed because I'm like, he's playing somebody that I need to lose, and so I'm like,
Right.
hey man, like, go off this week. And like, I look at his lineup and I'm always like, dude, like, I wish that you had a better team. But then for some reason, the weeks that I need him to win, he pulls it out pretty well. Like,
He goes off?
He's done not too bad.
Yeah, no,
dude.
he's 4-4, so he ain't half bad.
Yeah, better than me.
Yeah. I think big tight end edge going to the Zan Newtons. Gronk over Evan Ingram. I don't
Big.
even know. Yeah, huge tight end.
You're back on the Gronk train?
I've been on the Gronk train.
The Gronk
Wow.
train is full steam ahead right
Yeah.
now.
I'm not getting off.
Believing in
I have
him.
Gronk as my other dad of the week. Over 20 points.
I think, though,
Whoa.
the Antonio Gibson flex play is going to be really smart for Ed. Because Antonio Gibson is somebody who is, like, vastly underrated. And, like, when he gets the volume, like, he
Yeah,
will
he
do
can
great things.
easily pass 20. My
Oh, yeah.
my thing
Yeah.
is Vinny's got a pretty strategic flex play himself.
Yeah, he does.
If I do
Yeah,
say so.
Very interesting that he's not a wide
DeAndre
receiver
Hopkins.
one.
Yeah, I'm sure it should be, like, switched it up with Justin Jefferson. So I guess Justin Jefferson's more his flex, which I still really like.
Yeah. The thing is, Vinny's running backs, he has David Johnson and David Montgomery, which are very lackluster.
He'll get 12 points from each of them.
Yeah. So I think Ed has the running back edge, but the
Oh, yeah.
rest
Yep.
of the team goes.
But Gurley is kind of up in the air, like, sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah,
this week, I'm not super confident about Gurley.
He gets enough goal line touches and enough touchdowns that I think he's relevant most weeks.
Right.
But I mean, Sterling Shepard is solid, but he's no DeAndre Hopkins or Stephon Diggs.
No.
Yeah.
Sterling Shepard is someone that, if he has a game, he has a game.
Yeah.
But it's, like, not, you know.
And Curtis Samuel is like, I know he had 2 touchdowns last week, but he's like
Correct me-
the third option in that receiving.
Correct me
room.
if I'm wrong, but I think Vinny is better at every single position than Ed this week. And it's interesting. Oh, sorry. Other
Not
than running
running
back.
back.
Other than running back. And it's like, but like it's like not necessarily by like too much. They're all kind of like interesting. I don't know.
They both could go, like, I think it could go tip either way with a lot of these players. Like, I think with Samuel, like, he is number 3 in there, but they're playing the Chiefs. So it might actually be in his favor that he isn't number 1 receiver on that team. Because the focus will be on, like, DJ Moore or Robbie Anderson, and, like, he might get open a lot more.
Yeah,
He's just
that's
not
what
going to be
happened
involved
last
in the run
game.
game.
So
Yeah.
it could happen, but
I think that was like a flash in the pan type thing with Curtis there.
That's
I
fair.
don't think he's gonna have that type of production every single week. And
That is fair.
the Chiefs' defense is pretty solid, and I don't know. Edge probably goes to Vinny. It's just his running backs are so like meh that
It is what it is.
it is what it is.
Mike, you got any final takes on this matchup?
Nah, Vinny's got it. Easy dub.
Well, wait, we got it. We didn't even talk about it. We have an all-star quarterback matchup here between Mahomes and Jackson. Though.
Yeah, but
Jackson's been weak.
If you look at,
He's been weak. I mean,
he's still Lamar,
Yeah.
but like he's been pretty meh recently.
he's been weak fantasy-wise for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of fumbles, not a lot of points, and Mahomes has
Few interceptions as well.
Mahomes has been just like Mahomes. So I give the edge to Mahomes easily in that.
Even against like Indy.
Well, I mean, Lamar against Indy is like a tougher defense, and I mean that might negate some of like I feel like Darius Leonard at linebacker is probably going to be like the Lamar spy and kind of negate some of his running point value.
Yeah, the Colts defense can definitely control him. Not to say he can't do better, but it's
not
just
to say that
it's a
the
good
Ravens aren't gonna
matchup.
win. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's in the weird scenario where he has his defense playing against his quarterback.
Oh,
yeah.
you're
The one
right.
thing's good,
That's
it's bad for
always
the other.
not good.
I hate doing that. The conflict of
Yeah.
interest.
I see like why though, because the Colts defense good and Lamar's good. So, but
Yeah.
it's just questionable. And then it's also worth noting that Ed's bench is pretty thin. He didn't have a lot of decisions to make.
No.
Yeah,
He's
a lot
had-
of bye weeks.
Cooper Kupp on bye, Austin Hooper on bye, Eagles D
Ayuk
on
with
bye,
COVID.
T Higgins on bye, yeah, Ayuk with COVID. So he was only looking at James White and Dalton Schultz, and I think he made all the right choices. So
You think? Yeah. I was gonna say, if the Cowboys weren't playing the Steelers, I might be inclined to play Schultz over Ingram, just because Ingram, I used to have him on my team, and he would just give me aneurysms.
all right, well then I think we have it. We got our predictions for those 5 games. So we have reached the end of episode 4 of the Fantasy Dads podcast.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike and Adam, for coming on,
And Josh, who
Of
left
course.
Of
us.
course, of course.
and
It
Josh,
was a good time.
our
Alright.
beautiful,
Fuck
beautiful
No application.
champion. All right.
Hey, I just wanted to shout out Georgia and Pennsylvania real quick. You guys came through. Thanks for voting, Jake. Thanks for voting, Josh. Thanks for voting, Mike.
Yeah.
How do you know I voted? I did, but how do you know?
I figure you did. PJ voted, but his state didn't
Yeah,
do shit,
no,
so I
Ohio's a
don't want
bitch.
to thank him.
Fuck Ohio.
Adam's been fucking around with people's votes. He's the voter
I
fraud
haven't.
everyone's talking
I've been
about.
the one who's been burning all the ballots in the middle of nowhere and like taking video of it and posting it on Instagram to just say like voter fraud. That's me.
That's sick. All right, well, we'll see you on Tuesday to break down what happens this weekend. Goodbye.
Yep.
For sure.
All right.
Goodbye.
Adios.
See you, boys.